Hello everyone, my name is Khora, and today I would like to make a second part for the video about Ash, and it's actually going to be about every Warframe with a pseudo-exalted weapon, soon to be exalted weapon, because I felt like keeping historical evidence only about Ash doesn't feel right. I love all four of those Warframes, although I don't play them as much anymore. I will definitely have to rebuild all of them, and well, there are some very interesting things happening with them, which some people may not be aware of, and as like the top endgame player I kinda have to complain about them being nerfed pretty hard. Some of them will get buffs, most of them will get nerfs. We'll see. We'll see. As for Ash, I forgot to mention and include that in my description as well as pinned comment that his upcoming third ability augment change is going to include attacks which as finishers extend the duration of his smokescreen and grant Parker velocity, implying that any finishers do that, including his ultimate kills. And if that's going to be a thing, well, I'm definitely not taking that augment off anytime soon. Free Parkour velocity is going to be very nice on Ash for pretty much free, unless his Rising Storm augment becomes buffed and just very good in general. But if that doesn't happen, whatever, we don't care. The only downside is that we will get less duplex bond procs. So we'll have less. Where is my Sentinel? We'll have less Nautilus clones, which is going to be less priming, unless you're in the survival. So we'll kind of have to figure that out. But I think that overall it should be a pretty fun, pretty cool augment. Anyway, that's it about Ash. Let's talk about other Warframes. Let's start with the star of the show, Kora. My Kora is like, yeah, that's a lot. And I obviously never use ribbons outside of my Vectis one, so yeah. The best companion for her is going to be Khora's Khora, but Panzer and Nautilus work perfectly fine. Actually, Diriga is kind of better, but whatever. Actually, no, let's go for Diriga. Right, I believe I do have. Yeah, let's go for Diriga. Let's go for maximum crit damage, you know, just to flex the numbers. That's kind of Panzer thing, whatever. So Kora is going to get a huge nerf. Actually, let's use that build for maximum range. She is going to lose access to Magus Aggress, which is like a 2 times final damage nerf already as itself, and then she's also going to lose Magister credit buff and perks, which means that she's going down back to 25% instead of 41% base crit chance, and to 2 times crit multiplier instead of 3 times. As of right now, her combo multiplier is like 20 times minus 2 tenacious bonds, because she can stack them on her Pat and on her Venari, which still results in, I believe, 17.6 times crit multiplier, like just like that, and there is also 300% more crit damage. So it's going to be at around, I believe, 28% crit damage. So at red crits, it's around it's around 80-ish percent, 80-ish times critical damage. And since she can red crit tier 4, it's going to be over 120%. 120 times critical damage, actually. Let me show you that. We'll need to stack up her combo first, and then we'll need to stack up accumulating Whip Claw. Let's do that real quick. I'm just gonna stack the damage, probably gonna one-shot them in the process. Sorry, too bad you don't get to live long. So as you can see, tier 4 crits happening very often. I don't remember how much crit chance she has. I believe it's around 357-ish%. Might be wrong though. Actually, get a group top. Boom. That doesn't give us any faster scaling, but there it is. 350% accumulating a whip claw. Awesome. Now let's stack it up. Let's get full viral procs. Let's go for all of that, and boom. 27 million. Not the highest we can go for. I also want to activate 100% base damage from Magister Incarnon. I kind of don't care about that. 13 million, 21 million. I've seen much higher numbers from her. Let's go for something like Ensnare, fully viral premium, and boom. 41 million, 50 million. All of that. Ensnare increases the damage from Whip Claw by 50% final, which is pretty substantial buff. 40 million damage. With full armor strip it goes up to like 77 million from what I've seen. There was some armor strip happening. 52 million. I've seen bigger numbers anyway. And that's against fully armored enemies, by the way. You can possibly imagine how much damage it is against unarmored enemies. But yeah, I'm not gonna go too much into detail. Basically, she deals a lot. And someone did math, and apparently she's going to get nerfed by 76%, like a final damage nerf, after the upcoming changes. So it's definitely going to be very rough for core players. The only upside is that she will work with conditional overload, which will kind of make up for that, hopefully, maybe, possibly, I'm not sure. Bane mods, although nobody really loves Bane mods. Well, some people are obsessed with them, most of them just don't use them. And elementalists, well, even galvanized included, although people also kind of hate DOT builds on Kora for some reason. They want to one-shot things, although I think that one-shotting with one DOT proc is just as fun, but to each their own, I guess. I understand the obsession with one-shots. I also do not support it if it becomes too unrealistic to achieve. Which it probably will be too unrealistic to achieve after that. Let's admit she was and is very, very broken, very, very powerful Warframe. Anyway, did I have Mega Sagrass, by the way? I believe I did. Right? Yeah, I definitely did. Alright, so moving on to Atlas, actually. Atlas, I do not have 5 purple shards in him, unfortunately. I probably will put them on him later. Maybe. Probably not, though. His build looks a bit differently, because he only cares about his first ability. He still wants more power strength, because his base damage is kind of meh. And the stats are also kind of terrible. 5% crit chance, 5% stat chance. I believe it's 2 times crit multiplier or something. That doesn't really matter too much anyway. And the augment, which increases its damage by 2 times final and allows it to move 2 times faster, is absolutely unrealistic to be activated in a team setting. You will never have above, I would say, 300 to 1000 armor from that, so just don't even bother, honestly. You'd be better off with just a range mod for like maximum range Atlas build. What's that, 5.3 meters, kind of cool. But just to showcase his maximum potential, excluding the purple shard, of course, we are going to go for that. No Tenacious Bond this time, sorry. Kind of don't feel like it. Because realistically you're going to be running him with Nautilus for grouping and priming. I forgot to petrify them. Yay. Okay, so let's petrify all that stuff. Get the augment. Okay, now it's working. Petrify them for more damage taken. And boom. Was it 14 million? The guy was definitely armor stripped for some reason. Again, not activating 100% base damage from Magister and Karnan. 3.7, 5.6, yeah, 14 million. Someone was definitely a little bit more armor stripped. For some reason, I do not understand why though. Yeah, 3 million, 7.8. Definitely not such big numbers compared to Kora, of course. Who in the right mind would compare someone to Kora? Some 14 millions I've seen. The most consistent thing I've seen was 5.4 million in the previous testing. So yeah, that's going to get cut in half at best, just because we are losing Magus Aggress. But we're also losing the crit damage from Magister. We're gaining the crit chance, but that's not going to make up for that. And I would say melee influence is not going to be a viable setup on Khora or Atlas. Anyway, maybe we'll have to go for it because we will not be able to achieve one-shots, and we will care about 20 meters range nuking potential through walls again. We'll have to see. I would say they have pretty good AoE on their own. It may not seem as big, but it is kind of big. In real missions, it's fine. We'll definitely have to check it out ourselves when the update comes out. And before we move on to another Warframe, I would love to mention that Atlas also has another pseudo-exalted weapon. Let me take my Argonac. It's going to be very painful to activate since this is a barely viable setup, but let's just say that it is somehow made viable, whatever. We're looking at a rumbled augment, which turns us into a big rumble, which just throws rocks, and those scale from your melee. Actually, they take whatever melee type you have, and they are considered as one. So it is considered a dagger, and they can armor strip with Argonac augment, well, amalgam Argonac metal auger. So it only works as long as you have overguard, and as long as the overguard is no longer there, as long as it gets depleted, you get locked out of this mode. You can all jump on this, your movement speed gets reduced. I don't remember how much. It says it's multiplying that, but kind of like unnerfing that, I believe. I will have to stack up my combo, and that would be pretty miserable experience to look at. I would not recommend doing that. But fine, for the sake of showcase, I'm going to do that once. They're probably going to die before I even get a chance to hit them, but okay. So we have that now. Missing energy. So yeah, as you can see, the rocks deal pretty big damage, pretty decent stuff here. They also have massive AoE. If I can showcase that. 8 meters of AoE, enemies are dying to melee influence. It does get buffed by Incarnate perks, and they have said absolutely nothing about it. They've apparently forgotten that it even exists. People have already pointed it out in the comments under the thread, and I believe in the forums too. I would kind of hope that it gets some touch-ups, because it's still a pseudo-exalted weapon, and it's kind of weird that it just got no attention at all. Kind of weird, but it is what it is. Moving on. Anyway, let's give you Magister and route back. I love those two things. And now let's move on to Khora. So Khora, people are saying it's not her playstyle, that she's going to spam her one like 12 times before even activating her ult. Kind of agree, because usually she's played like that. There is definitely longer than 1 second animation here between the cast of her one. But now we will have to go for that. Moreover, we'll have to go for this playstyle. We'll have to tap it twice after shattering our ult to maintain our 12 times combo. The upside is that we actually get to maintain our 12 times combo at all times without Naramon, without activating ceramic dagger, so it requires a lot less setup than 100 primary kills to achieve mere 7 times combo, which is better, right? The build is pretty standard Khora setup, maximum raw damage. And now the sad part about Khora is that they're buffing Shattered Lash, right? They're buffing this ability. It's going to be pretty cool. It's going to deal lots of damage and everything. Actually, no. I don't see it dealing any damage at all. It will have like massive crit chance and massive stun chance, but we don't use this as a killing ability. We use it to feed our 2 from our 4, and we also use it to, well, kill enemies with our 4. Boom. By the way, the damage that our 4 does from our 1, it considers base damage, it considers combo count, but it does not consider crits and status. And this ult itself, it cannot crit, it cannot proc status effects, and whatever buffs are going to happen to Shattered Lash will not matter. Only the raw damage matters. And in terms of raw damage, they're nerfing the base damage in half in exchange for buffing the combo count. The combo multiplier being more accessible and being more sustainable, and as well as, well, making her work with arcanes better, I guess. So the setup is going to remain the exact same, like this, and we're only going to experience a little bit of a playstyle change, but overall it would be a net buff for her, and nothing actually changes about her playstyle in the grand scheme of things, right? It's not like we're going to spam her 1 now. Some people already did that. I don't think it's a nice way to play her. It has less range than her 4, like a lot less range. Although yeah, it will kill now, kind of better. I still would want to play Khora with her 4. Although some people may find some fun in this setup. They may run Excalibur ability on her, they may run Roar, whatever. I still wouldn't say it's a nerf for her, more like a different approach for her combo. But that's still going to be fine. I believe I covered all 4 Warframes with pseudo-exalted weapons. Oh, Atlas has 2 actually. Now let me quickly tell you about the Excalibur with Magister setup. I'll need router for that. I already prepared this setup before, since this is the second time I'm recording this. So with Magus of Grass, again, no purple shards, sorry. Let me stack my combo count. Mark for death, and then that just didn't go for some reason. Alright, this is exactly what you can expect. Marked for death, slap the enemies with 1, and damage gets spread a lot, because it scales from Magister crits and all of that. And all of this is going to be taken away from us. Yay. I don't even have an augment for his 3, wish I did, but I don't have it. There is nowhere to put it on this build. We're going to get Elementalist though. Elementalist is pretty fun. Right, did I lose all my combo? I did in fact lose all my combo. But from it could see, yes, this thing can nuke. This is pretty fun Excalibur playstyle. I do not think it's going to become the main one after the buffs to Exalted Blade, which is just going to be an influence machine anyway. So that's kind of it when it comes to Excalibur. Now there is actually two more Warframes who I wanted to talk about, and let me start with Inaros real quick. So Inaros, let me give him my Heroes Kubrow. Should have full mecha set bonus rate. So Inaros is capable of dealing some damage with his elemental sandstorm augment, and it makes your melee a fake exalted weapon. It only takes the status effects which are listed there, like the status types. I need still bandages. I believe I do have another setup. Yeah, I do. It only cares about your listed status effects here, and their proc priority. So, for example, here we have around 45 to 55% proc priority in favor of heat. It does not care about the mods which you have on this. It only cares about the proc priority. That's literally all that it takes. So it barely scales with anything, but then again it can scale. And we need a full mecha set to achieve somewhat reasonable damage here. But the results are pretty cool actually. We don't have any priming. Oh yeah, we actually have viral in our kit. So let's just do that. We'll just do some spin. And the priming wasn't enough. Awesome. I forgot to do the thing oh no, actually it was enough. Pretty cool. I usually throw in my corrosive procs here as well, and just do that. They're getting fully armor stripped from my 4. So yeah, and there is the mecha set. Kind of meme setup requires a lot of stuff to be put in Inaros, kind of ruining his survivability. Oh yeah, and the power strength in favor of these mods here. It used to be way more, that's why I'm seeing less numbers. Anyway, I would hopefully love to see something about Elemental Sandstorm as well. It is still a fake but exalted weapon. It takes some stats from our melee. Maybe change something about it. I don't know. And now I think that is pretty much it. And let's talk about Titania. So, Titania also got a bug similar to Ash's clones, which turned her Razorflies into a summoned entity, which has a custom scaling. Like, think of it. Titania has 2 exalted weapons, but her Razorflies are a pseudo-exalted melee weapon, which takes mods directly from her exalted weapon. They scale from crit chance, crit damage. They inherit the crit stats of Devada. They have no status chance stat, again similar to Ash and his clones. They do not scale from base damage, but they do scale from elemental damage. I believe they do not scale from physical damage. I might be wrong, they probably do. They scale from melee attack speed, which is pretty crazy. They scale from elemental, the faction damage mods, well, the elemental mods, and conditional overload. The only thing that affects their base damage. Moreover, conditional overload works multiplicatively for them. So it is 80% for 1 status effects, 80% squared for 2 status effects, and it is a final damage multiplier. And we'll see how crazy it gets in a second. How am I going to get status effects in my ult when I cannot really proc anything and I can only spawn like duplex bond sentinel here with Tazakor for cold so that my razorflies can survive for longer. But actually I have Hydroid's subsumed ability, and this is the easiest setup to run you could ever make. This gives you 2 status effects. This is viral and corrosive, and with 2 shards with full armor strip, that's a huge damage buff. And they're also obviously affected by Summoner's Wrath. They can activate the new arcane, and I'm running the augment. The build is pretty standard shield gating setup minus the shield gating part. Also, the shield gating is going to be nerfed because it's going to take the set bonuses from active weapon, meaning that when I activate my Dexpixia, the mods from my Grimoire, which were granting me additional energy to shield conversion, will not work. And I will only get to work with 40% energy converted to shields, which is kind of nothing. Titania will have a hard time surviving the next patch as a whole. So we can run her with Narmon. We're only using our ult anyway. We're going to go for Full Moon from our second ability because we still get 75% extra damage for our summoned entities. Again, Summoner's Wrath gives us another 75% final damage. And let me just quickly show you what this setup is capable of. 200,000, 700,000, 1,300,000 damage. The Razorflies can headshot, by the way. The damage difference you're seeing is headshots. So yeah, it's usually like 200 to 300,000 damage per a quarter of second, I believe. They have insane attack speed. Hundreds, 500,000, 1,300,000, 500,000, depending on the amount of status effects. Again, conditional overload is a massive scaling here. And all of this happened like 3 years ago. Titania has been like that for 3 years. And people have never really noticed that up until recently when it became pretty popular, especially with the new aura, which she got. And they're saying that this is a bug and this is going to get completely removed from the game. It was never an intended interaction. What? You've just given us one of the strongest summoner warframes out there. The strongest warframe who actually summons entities other than the clones themselves, being Wukong and Equinox, who are the actual strongest summoners. She has insane DPS. She has become AoE. She solved most of her issues as a warframe. And she has become very powerful, very usable on much wider list of missions than she was before. And she finally got rid of like the thermal sonder spam, which people use her for low-level void fishers, which is pretty bad. And now you're nerfing her because it was not intended? Seriously? I do not approve this. I really think they should revert this nerf, which is coming to her, or like that should not go to the live version at all. They should instead balance them out, perhaps let them scale from Divide amounts, but like adjust the damage a little bit, because yes, they are actually broken. They have crazy DPS, absolutely crazy. They can slap level cap enemies with ease. Unfortunately, they have very little HP, so they're going to die very quickly, even on base steel path. Even like Scaldra exterminate missions, they're dying non-stop. I have to resummon them from my ult every damn time. You may argue that, yeah, having Devada with Blast AoE with Enervate is going to be pretty cool setup, and then running 10% base status chance Devada in melee influence setup is also going to make her more AoE-ish, but she's never going to reach the level of damage and DPS that her Razorflies can do right now, which will be, well, really, really bad. if that goes live. I hope it doesn't. I pray to all the gods and Pablo himself that it doesn't happen. Please have mercy. We love Titania. Do not take her away from us. That's all I have to say about warframes with these abilities. As you have probably seen, the new combo count changes are definitely a buff for Kora and Atlas, especially since those two run Naramon pretty easily. Gara is still going to be buffed, I believe. Even her AoE nuking build is going to get buffed. I don't really like her Shattered Lash DPS builds, but I guess they are going to get buffed a lot now, so pretty nice. Perhaps worth running even, if you're into that. Might be quicker to utilize compared to her 4 nuke. Well, Titania is going to suffer for no reason. Excalibur is going to thrive. He has an exalted and a pseudo-exalted weapon. Pretty nice. And, well, Ash is going to be the highest damage Warframe with a pseudo-exalted weapon in the game, apparently, since his damage scaling potential is going to be kind of ridiculous from what I can calculate right now. We don't know the exact math, and I'll definitely be testing all of that stuff when it comes out. I cannot wait, man, I cannot wait. I've been waiting for these changes for so long, way too long. So yeah, Megasagrass getting removed, Magistar getting removed, damage getting adjusted. Lots of stuff is going to happen. I just wanted to record like more or less the highest damage numbers that these warframes are capable of getting as of right now, and you know, just get a little bit more of historical evidence about this topic, which not so many people bring up usually because they either don't know about it or they don't care. So yeah, just going to leave this in the internet archive in case someone stumbles across this video in the near future. With that said, I'll see you when the rework happens, and goodbye.